30th, 2025 Troy City Council meeting. This evening, we're honored to have Senior Pastor Simeon Timbuk from the Bethesda Romanian Pentecostal Church to provide us with our invocation. So if you are able, please stand and remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we are thankful for this beautiful day you blessed us with. We are thankful for bestowing your blessing upon each one of us, the city of Troy, the city council, and we ask to bless this meeting with your presence and your protection. As we approach the 4th of July holiday, we ask you to protect the city, the state of Michigan, and the United States of America, to bless the first responder and be with each one of us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor Timbuk. Good to see you. We'll officially call the June 30th, 2025 Troy City Council meeting to order and ask for the roll call for Ms. Dixon.
Mayor Baker?
Here.
Councilmember Brooks?
Here.
Councilmember Chamberlain-Krenga?
Here.
Councilmember Chanda?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn?
Here.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Here.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Here.
All present this evening. We have no certificates of recognition and special presentations, no carryover items, or no public hearings scheduled for this evening, so we'll move straight into public comment for items on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. We do have one person signed up. As a reminder, per our City Council rules of procedure, you're given 3 minutes. The timer is here for you. When the light turns yellow, that means you have 1 minute left, and when it turns red, that means your time is up. So with that said, I'll call on Dave Niffen to provide comment for I-5.
Dave Niffen, 5501 Boros, Troy, Michigan. In regards to the 2025 budget, I read through and it shows a significant trend of upward spending over the last 8 years in many departments. Whatever the budget amendments there may be today, I hope they trend downwards, because I'm not confident that spending has been reasonable, prudent, or always in our best interest as citizens. For example, I was unable to attend the State of the City event, but I later watched it online, and something raised a concern. There was a film work produced and shown during the event, and again, it was later published on Facebook. This piece was like a TV show intro to Cheers, but with city leaders set to the song Where Everybody Knows Your Name by Gary Portnoy and Judy Hart-Angelo. Having been involved in the music and film business for 25 plus years, I've had the opportunity to work with the publisher of this specific song, Sony ATV, in licensing deals. So I understand the costs involved in using licensed material. Figure this song alone, set to an original film, aired live to a public crowd, then posted online, would require a sync license, a mechanical license, a public performance license, and a master use license, costing altogether tens of thousands of dollars, not to mention whatever extra costs and fees were paid to waive the crediting of this song, its authors and performers. I'm just not that confident that licensing privately owned music for city productions is the best use of taxpayer dollars. Don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting to simply take someone else's federally protected, copywritten private material and use it and call it your own without paying for it. No, that's stealing, and I'm not suggesting that in any way. I get it. You have to pay to use copywritten music, especially in films, events, and other public forums, regardless if you profit from it or not. I mean, we know there are organizations like ASCAP, BMI, even SAG, that protect intellectual property and protect people's rights. So what I'm saying is simply it probably wasn't needed. It wasn't necessary, and probably the city shouldn't have spent money to acquire the licensing for such song. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes those that have signed up for public comment for items on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. Now's an opportunity for council or administration to respond or reply. City Attorney Bloom.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I would just say that we do have agreements with SAG, with BMI, and with ASCAP for use, because we do have a lot of uses for our music. So, so we do have agreements.
Thank you. And no taxpayer funds were used for that intro video for the State of the City address. Next up, we have no postponed items this evening, so we'll move on to regular business. I-1 is board and committee appointments. I have no mayoral appointments this evening, and there are no city council appointments. I2 is board and committee nominations. I have no mayoral nominations this evening. It's my understanding there are no city council nominations either. So we move on to I3, which is a request for closed session. Be it resolved that Troy City Council shall meet in closed session as permitted by MCL 15.268E, Gilman versus Troy et al.
Support.
Moved by the chair, supported by Councilmember Hoderick, that we approve I3, request for closed session, as read into the record and printed in the agenda packet. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Chamberlain Krenga?
Yes.
Councilmember Chanda?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Motion carries. At the conclusion of this public meeting, we will recess and head into the council boardroom for our closed session, whereas it is expected that we will adjourn for the night from there. Next up is I4, Contract Ratification, Michigan Association of Police, MAP, and that'll be presented by our Human Resources Director, Jeanette Minnick.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm joined today by Deputy Human Resources Director Jennifer Lee, and we're here to introduce the item on the agenda, which is the ratification of the collective bargaining agreement for the Michigan Association of Police.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. The Michigan Association of Police represents clerical employees throughout the city and non-sworn police service aides and dispatchers in the police department. Highlights of the agreement are limited adjustments to pay ranges and classifications, wage increases each year, a one-time lump sum payment this year for approximately half of the unit, and updated administrative language. We'd like to thank the MAP negotiating team and the city team for their work in reaching this agreement. Using our interest-based negotiation process helped us settle this contract quickly.
City management supports and recommends ratifying the agreement, and we are happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, someone like to move the resolution? Member Chanda?
I move I4, Contract Ratification, Michigan Association of Police, MAP, as printed on the agenda package.
Support.
Moved by Councilmember Chanda, supported by Councilmember Chamberlain, that we approve I4, Contract Ratification, Michigan Association of Police, MAP, as printed in the agenda packet. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Chamberlain Krenga?
Yes.
Councilmember Chanda?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes, motion carries. Next up is I5, Fiscal Year 2024-25 Budget Amendments. That'll be introduced by our Chief Financial Officer, Robert Malzek.
Thank you, Mayor. Nice to see everyone tonight, and appreciate being here. This is our annual cleanup for our financial statements. Per the State Uniform Budget Act, we have to make sure that all of our accounts are under budget, and if not, then we have an audit issue that we have to report to the state. So this is just some minor departments that went over this year, and it's for the general fund and also for CDBG. And I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Councilmember Hamilton, do you have a question?
Yeah, so for the budget as a whole, every year we're usually $1, $2, $3 million under budget, and I'm assuming that's the case this year, but it's just, you have to balance every account. So some are way under budget, and there's a few that were a tiny bit over. So this is kind of just balancing it all out, correct?
You're 100% right. Yep, we're poised to have another very good fiscal year, both on the revenue side with positive interest rates, that we're taking advantage of it because our community is a net saver. And then on the expense side, you're right, we have some open positions this year, and you'll see that we'll definitely be under budget similar to last year.
And Happy New Year tomorrow. It's the new fiscal year for Troy.
You got it, thank you. I celebrate that.
That's all we needed to know. Mayor Pro Tem Gunn?
So the difference here, the 450, that comes out of what?
That comes, we decided just to show it come out of fund balance. What we could have done is we could have offset it and added additional revenue that we're going to be over for, like interest income. We've had a great year with our interest income this year, and I could have offset it that way, but Kyle Veith, our controller, and I just decided to show it just as a net $450,000 in the general fund.
Gotcha, okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Someone like to move I5? Councilmember Chamberlain.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move I5, fiscal year 2024-2025 budget amendments as printed in the agenda packet.
Support.
Moved by Councilmember Chamberlain, supported by Councilmember Brooks, that we approve I-5 fiscal year 2024-25 budget amendments as printed in the agenda packet. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Councilmember Chamberlain Krenga?
Yes.
Councilmember Chanda?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Next up is I-6 bid waiver ABI Force Z23 and attachments, and that'll be introduced by our Deputy Public Works Manager, Dennis Trantham.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight is a request for a bid waiver for the ABI Force Z23 and attachments through LADS, which is a regional distributor for the product. A little brief background, the Parks Division of Public Works maintains 15 ball fields across 8 different facilities, and there's approximately 850 ball games played a year on top of pickup games and practices. This piece of equipment is unique in the sense that it has a lot of attachments in one piece, allowing our team to be more efficient when we go out in the field. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Dennis. Any questions? Councilmember Chanda.
Yeah, thanks for, it's pretty impressive, it looks. My question is that something we're buying for the first time? I mean, do we have it now?
It is something we're buying for the first time. In the past, we've got a broom that goes on in front of one of our pickup trucks that we could use to work the fields. We've got a pretty common piece of equipment that's used is a piece of chain link fence that's tied to the back of a tractor or a cart. We have that. What this will allow us to do is to get in and do some more restorative maintenance to the fields, more grade work with one piece of equipment instead of having multiple people and multiple pieces of equipment on site.
And what kind of, if I can ask one more question, what kind of warranty do we expect, like our lifespan?
It's a 1-year warranty.
1 year
Yeah.
warranty, okay.
Thank you. Councilmember Chamberlain.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to ask, what would be the experience for users? I've heard from residents that are big baseball fans that, they would love to see the parks, in even better condition. So what will be their experience with this?
So when we look at infield grooming, which this is specifically for, it's maintaining the area that's not the outfield, not the grass area. So this is just the infield area. So it would be grading, it'd be better drainage, it would be maybe less holes in the field, things like that. We can break the edges back, the lips back, and pull the material back in with this piece of equipment. So it will really be like a Swiss Army knife for us.
Okay. Second question, I'm looking at the photo.
Yeah.
It's a pretty large contraption, apparatus. Presuming that the baseball fields, I know you have firefighters, there still is one at the community center. Is it, you will put it on,
A trailer.
Is it going to be hard, a trailer, and
Yep.
you'll be able to, it won't be hard to get around to different places?
So when you think of the size of this, it may look larger than it is, but the base of the machine is like a zero-turn mower.
Yeah.
It's a little bit wider in the back with the brooms, but those are pieces that come off.
Okay, well, I hope we'll find a way to share with residents. I think they'll be happy to hear about it.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn.
Does someone ride this or push this?
So they stand on it. So if you're looking at the image, there's a tall piece towards the back behind the rear of the tire. That's like a back brace, if
Yeah.
you will, to keep from flinging off. But yeah, they'd stand on there and like control.
Kind of like a Zamboni.
Kind of, yeah.
Don't show this to the Tigers. That'll replace the whole grounds crew.
Right.
That's
right.
beautiful.
Any questions on this side? All right. This side's very interested in this one.
We had the opportunity to demo this piece, and it's pretty impressive.
It's
So
impressive,
we were pretty impressed by it.
And obviously, we're doing a bid waiver because they're sole source.
Sole source,
Right.
yeah.
We don't.
Lads is the only person in the region that's allowed to sell this piece of equipment through ABI.
And I believe Sterling Heights is using that. I saw it at least on Google search. They got one last year, so
Well, ours will be newer and nicer.
we'll be
so.
newer. Yes, we'll be better.
All right. Someone like to move the resolution? Councilmember Hoderick.
I'll move, where are we on? I-6, bid waiver ABI Force Z23 and attachments as printed in the agenda packet.
Support.
Moved by Councilmember Hoderick, supported by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Gunn, that we approve I-6 bid waiver ABI Force Z23 and attachments as printed in the agenda packet. Any discussion? Councilmember Hoderick.
Just the maintenance of our sports facilities is important to our residents. And I'm glad to see this on here and glad to see Swiss Army knife kind of tool because it's hard work and it takes a lot to maintain. We have a lot of parks, we have a lot of different things that you're maintaining. It's part of when people talk about public safety, the safety of our fields. When you're playing soccer, you don't want a hole, you don't want to. As Councilwoman Chamberlain was mentioning, residents notice. So this is, I'm glad to see this, and of course I'll be supporting it.
Councilmember Chamberlain.
Thank you. Just to go back to what I was kind of ending with, if there's a way that somehow we can share this, and maybe that's on us, I do know very, very avid, passionate baseball players and families, their children all play, and I know that they'll be very excited about this. So would love to find a way to be able to communicate this out with the public.
Maybe a social media post is coming next. Exciting. Councilmember Hamilton.
How often do you run this on every field?
So we'll kind of get a feel of like the frequency needed, right? So it's gonna be a bit of a learning curve for us to start. But I would see, monthly to start, and some of it's gonna depend on how the fields are used, right? So we just had the Jamie Samuelson tournament a few weeks ago. Like, there was a lot of games played. So after an event like that, we may come in with this piece of equipment the week after and, touch things up again.
Great, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
When will you receive it?
Sounds like they have it in stock. They wanted me to sign a purchase order 2 weeks ago. I said, I can't do that. So it sounds like it's readily available.
Wow.
So.
Councilmember Chand.
We're on baseball. Thanks for the presentation. First of all, this memo is saying we have 15 ballparks in 8 different parks. It's saying we play about 850 games. Is that correct?
Correct. Recreation programs the games. So whether a league plays on there, it all gets funneled through the recreation department, other than the pickup games that occur in our park.
Okay, so that is like actual tournament type games, 850 or some kind of
general baseball,
general
park
baseball.
league.
Yeah, so
like
that is another thing we need to tell the residents. It is a lot of people use the baseball fields. In fact, in Bullen Park, I see every day both fields are busy, and so it's people of all ages, all from elementary schools to adults playing baseball at different skill levels. So it's important that we provide the best equipment. And it's also safety, as Councilmember Hodrick mentioned, that people could get injured if the fields are not maintained. So no, I'm very happy to support.
Any other discussion?
I have actually one quick question. Would this also be used for the cricket field as well, or?
I don't know.
Probably not.
So the cricket field, the hybrid pitch does require a roller. One of the things that this comes with is the roller, and I haven't done enough research to see if this piece of equipment can be used. It's a thought that I have that it's possible that it can be used to roll that, but it's a 1.5 ton roller required, so I gotta see what kind of downforce this puts.
Okay.
That wasn't on my radar until recently.
One last question.
One more, Mayor Pro Tem.
Can you let us know when you receive it and we can kind of come watch the?
Yeah, we can let administration know, yeah.
Ribbon cutting.
We charge tickets, so.
The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Councilmember Chanda.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn.
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton.
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick.
Yes.
Mayor Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Councilmember Chamberlain Krenga.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. That concludes regular business. Next up is the consent agenda. Would anyone like to pull an item from the consent agenda for further discussion? Councilmember Hamilton.
I'd like to move all items on the consent agenda as printed in the agenda packet.
Support.
Moved by Councilmember Hamilton, supported by Councilmember Chamberlain, that we approve all items on the consent agenda as printed in the agenda packet. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Mayor Pro Tem Gunn.
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton.
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick.
Yes.
Mayor Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Councilmember Chamberlain Krenga.
Yes.
Councilmember Chanda.
Yes.
Motion carries. If you're here for an item on the consent agenda this evening, all have been approved. We have no memorandums and future council agenda items to announce this evening, so we move on to public comment for items not on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. Same rules as public comment earlier. You're given 3 minutes. Please watch the clock, and when the light turns yellow, that's a reminder that you have 1 minute left, and when it turns red, that's your time. So with that said, we'll call up Bill Rhodes, who's first.
Well, I am here this evening to say thank you. For those of you who don't know, there was a new senior center sign, say that 3 times faster, installed at the Livernois entrance to the Troy Community Center and Senior Center. Troy Senior Center is what it says. And that gives me a warm feeling to my heart. And I am really pleased that not only do we have a wonderful sign, but thanks to the Recreation Department and people like Lindsay Ramsey and Lori Salyer, we have a wonderful senior program. I do have a bunch of the 50 forwards, if anybody hasn't had a chance to read this installment, but they're doing a wonderful job, and many of the programs are selling out very quickly. So if I'll pass this on to anybody watching this, please, when you see something you like in the 50 forward, jump on it. Things like the baseball game, there were people in line 20 minutes before they could register for that. And that sold out in about an hour and a half. There was a program that was, I think it was $150 to go to lunch and to the Michigan Central Railroad Station that sold out in a couple hours. And that wasn't your typical free senior program. That was $150 because it included a lunch at Andiamo's. These programs today, they had Movie Mondays, and they had to break that into 2 sessions, a morning session and an afternoon session, because it was selling out. The birthday parties, they can only take 100 people, and they're getting 100 people at the birthday parties. So everything is just being incredibly successful, and I want to thank everybody involved. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Good to see you. Next up is Joey Colby.
Hi, my name is Joey Colby Bernert. I live at 5125 Shady Creek Drive. I'm a clinical social worker. I'm actually up here to talk about 3 things: pet stores, the skate park, and coyotes. First, the sale of dogs and cats in pet stores. These stores are often connected with large-scale breeders with poor conditions. Other cities are stepping in. Detroit passed a ban earlier this year. As you know, Troy is the largest city in Oakland County by both population and square mileage, and I think that, you know, obviously, if it's something that we should consider doing, I know that if maybe a full ordinance is not possible yet, maybe start with a resolution saying that the city does not support these types of businesses. Second, I didn't see anything in the budget about maintenance for the skate park. Now, I know obviously the skate park is just a bunch of standing structures, but nonetheless, it does need maintenance. I know because I skate there all the time, and if I'm not breaking something, then I'm breaking something at the skate park. So, you know, a lot of other people skate there. It's an important public space, and I'd like to make sure that, you know, the city has it on the budget. Lastly, there's been an increase in coyotes in my neighborhood. Now, I have a 6.5-pound Chihuahua that has the same personality as me, and when he sees a coyote, he is going to challenge it. I, you know, would like to know if there's something that can be done. I've been trying to bring my dog to the meeting here, but unfortunately that's not allowed. That being said, I was asking if, I would like to know if the city is trying to track the coyote issues or has any plans to respond to deal with coyotes. For what it's worth, Mayor Baker, I actually really liked the video with the music. So that was really fantastic. I also felt that that video made council much more approachable, instead of it actually made me more comfortable coming up here to talk. So seeing that you guys would be willing to go behind some music and hearing that it's not funded by taxpayers is important to me, and I just want to tell you that was cool. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Next up is Ken Brudzinski.
We good? Hello, everyone, council, mayor, staff. My name is Ken Brodzinski, and I'm here to announce my candidacy for a seat on city council. I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce myself to everyone present, to those watching from home, and tell you a little bit about myself. I've been married to a wonderful woman, Sue Brodzinski, for 35 years. She's a former teacher and librarian, and we have lived in Troy for the past 35 years. We raised 3 beautiful children. They all went through the Troy School District, Troy High, Bemis, and Bolin. And I myself have a Bachelor of Science in Management Science from St. Louis University. I have a master's from Walsh College in Business Information Technology. In my professional career, I was a systems engineer with a company called EDS, founded by Ross Perot, which was then bought by GM and then HP and DXC. I ended my career as a database administrator. I was an active tennis player all my life, and hockey player as well. I grew up as a St. Louis Blues fan because I grew up in St. Louis. Scotty Bowman was the coach. He took the Blues to the Stanley Cup Finals the first 3 years. They got beat by Montreal and Boston, but that's beside the point. I'm retired now, but I'm eager to use my brain, not my legs so much, to make things that come before council a reality. The election for 3 of the seats on council is Tuesday, November the 4th, and Ms. Hoderick will not be able to run for election again due to term limits, but 2 other members will be up for re-election if they choose to file. And I hope that I will receive the support of the voters in Troy and have the honor of serving the citizens of this fine city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Morgan Zach.
Hi, everyone. I come here to say thank you. I got a response from Councilman Chanda, and so pretty much it sounds like what we're waiting on is a little help from the administration department, and I wanted to let you know that I'm here to help answer any questions or, provide any assistance if you need that. So if you need to see Berkeley's legislation again, I can forward that to you again. I don't know if you need any assistance with that. I was going to print some out, but then I figured I'd save a few trees. So other than that, yeah, I wanted to say thank you. And there were 2 other things, sorry. So I have subject matter experts that could be of help to us. So I've CC'd them in some of the emails, but I wanted to just say it out loud today. So there's Tiffany Perkins from Pause Friend Network. Her email is pausefriendnetwork@gmail.com. I can spell that out, PAWS, friend, we should all know that one, network, as it's normally spelled. And then there's also Ariel Lefkowitz. She's actually from Humane World. She has a great background, has gone to college for this stuff. So she has a master's degree in it. This is her email. It's alefkovits@humaneworld.org. And yeah, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you. That concludes those that have signed up for public comment for items not on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. Now's an opportunity for City Council and City Administration to respond and reply. Mayor Pro Tem Gunn.
The puppy mill situation, is it my understanding we only have 1 pet store in Oakland Mall in Troy?
City Attorney Bloom.
Yeah, it has been represented that there are 2 establishments. I will also say that this is something that we are working on. We thank you for the offer to give us the Berkeley ordinances. We're looking at other ordinances in our department, and it is going to be presented to the Animal Control Appeals Board to make a recommendation to you. They don't meet as frequently as some of our other boards, however.
But it'd probably be something where I guess the existing business would have to be grandfathered possibly?
Again, that will certainly be one of the considerations that the Animal Control Appeals Board will be aware of before they make their recommendation.
Okay, thanks.
Councilmember Chamberlain.
Thank you, Mayor. So also a question for City Attorney Bloom. It wasn't clear to me, is the suggestion, and I haven't read all of the Berkeley legislation, is that to ban all pet stores, or is it around stores that have, there's a reason to believe they are using puppy mills? Do we know? Yeah, I don't know what you're looking at, what legislation?
Yeah, it's the puppy mill.
Puppy mill.
Is what has been asked for.
Okay, and I think the question with that is kind of how does that enforcement or investigation, those are some of my questions. And Ms. Zach, just so you know, there's another individual, can't remember their name, also resident, who had reached out as well around this a couple months ago. And when I communicated with that person by email, it was that, yes, I'd love to learn more, have questions around enforcement, investigation, and also explained that not only are we working on a potential bond, we have got a lot of actually really big issues right now going on in the city. They're actually really big, like with our library. And we still have ordinances from our master plan we approved that we still need to do, and those are of great priority for our residents. So would like to tackle it, but I don't want it to get in the way of some of the things that are really pressing, like a lot of residents are coming out and asking for regarding the changes in the master plan. So that's kind of where I am. I want to tackle things in time, but I'm glad that the idea is to start with that committee that we have and to get their input.
Any other response or reply?
Yeah, it's kind of, as I mentioned in my email, we explained to Zach, we are working on a very important thing for the bond proposal. So our legal department is kind of busy with that, but it is in the back of our mind, and as City Attorney Bloom explained, we are working on it. Give us some time, and I believe the Berkeley proposal exempts the existing store from that, if I'm correct. But essentially, it will take some time, but it hasn't fallen off the table is basically what we are trying to say. So it is certainly the higher priorities are bond and all the other things. So, and in terms of Mr. Rhodes, so happy to see you excited. I sent you the picture almost immediately after I saw the email. So, I'm happy that we could make these things happen. And again, Mr. Brzezinski, welcome to the, hopefully we'll have a spirited election. So look forward to talking to you and everyone else that's running. So, and Joey, always happy to see you.
I have a quick question about.
Councilor Brooks.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mayor. Joey had mentioned the coyote issue, and I know that animal control has been a concern, but we don't have a way to enforce it in the city, correct? Is that my understanding?
Our animal control is through Oakland County. They do not take care of wild animals. Persons can call some private service, or if there's an issue with coyotes, DNR would handle that. And their customer service number is 800-292-7800. The weird thing about coyotes is what I was always told is you remove them from an area, they're territorial, other ones will come up and take up that area. So it's a really difficult thing to deal with those.
Thank you.
We had a presentation maybe 9 years ago, I think, at a council meeting. Must have 10. I was new on council. There was a very thorough presentation about basically everything Frank just said. And that's the difficulty we face is without a coyote brigade here in the city to go after, and we're not really able to do much. So the smart thing to do is to tell your Chihuahua not to be aggressive like you, and protect your Chihuahua, and certainly don't put yourself or your dogs in any situations that commonsensically don't seem like a good idea. But it is an issue that we're facing, also an increased deer population. There's a lot of animal issues in Troy, I think, that could get brought to our attention a lot. But just make smart choices with your small pets and small children. That's always the fear. Did you have something?
Something small, because I was also going to bring up with the coyotes, but also the deer. And I know you just mentioned it. As I'm already out talking to folks, deer has come up multiple times. And I know the typical response when we get questions in is to give information on deer-resistant plans and different tactics. And it occurred to me, maybe at some point, we have a lot going on, we could have a page on our website that could just have that information. So instead of having to always email it, you just would refer them to a link where we have it on our website, information on our approach to handling deer-resistant plants and such. But it is something that I keep hearing from my neighbors at least.
That's true. Yeah, Councilor Hodrick.
I shouldn't speak for a police department necessarily, but I remember that coyote presentation. One thing to clarify, if ever there is an animal that appears rabid, your personal safety is at risk, a call to 911. We no longer have an animal control that was cut back in the downturn, and it's one of the things that if I could bring back, if I was queen for a day, come back and argue for it as a regular resident when I'm off council. I would love to have animal control back. But your safety is always here. So, that's different than your dog provoking a coyote. Obviously, that you're on your own. But if there is a rabid animal, or you see, or if a coyote is appearing, you have reason to fear for personal safety, please don't hesitate to call for help, right?
Correct.
I also wanted to add to Ms. Zach, you heard us all, we've got a lot going on, right? I don't want you to feel like you have to come every meeting and remind us to look at this, because we are. It is on our to-do list, for lack of a better term. But you're welcome to come anytime and speak out. You're very, obviously, it's a high priority for you, as I recognize and appreciate. But I don't want you to feel like if you're not coming, we're not thinking about it, and it's just being pushed aside. That's not the case. But if you need to take a Monday off or something, don't hesitate. We'll still be thinking about it. That's what I'm trying to say. So just know that, okay? Okay. That concludes, I think, council and administration response to reply to public comment for items not on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. We have no council referrals this evening. There's a couple of reports. Did anybody have any comments on those? All right. Council comments. Councilor Hamilton.
Just happy Independence Day. I can't believe I'm saying that, and it's already July 4th this Friday.
That's a good one. I'm going to take this moment to say, City Attorney Bloom, could we do anything to make our ordinance in Troy more restrictive to fireworks laws? We ask every year.
Yes, thank you for asking, and just to clarify as well, no, we cannot do anything additionally. We are as restrictive as we can be. There is an ability to shoot off fireworks from 11 a.m. until 11:45 p.m. That started on June 29th, and it goes until July 5th, because the 5th is on a Saturday. So yes, we always get that question, and we are as restrictive as we can be with our ordinance under state law.
All right. Councilmember Brooks, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to remind everyone that the Troy Garden Club will be celebrating their 50th annual Garden Walk on July 9th. This is their primary fundraiser for the year, and it's a wonderful event. A number of Troy residents open up their homes and their gardens, and you can go around and see it, and it's a beautiful event to participate in, and you can find out more information online. And then also just happy 4th. Be safe, everybody.
Councilmember Chamberlain.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy 4th of July to everyone. I want to thank city staff. I did notice some very creative social media posts with Fire Dog Blue, reminding people of the fireworks, our ordinance. So I thought that was very creative. So go Blue, and I hope Blue will be out there again with some more posts. On a more somber kind of reflection, I just wanted to take a moment to share. Had the honor with Mayor Baker, also Councilmember Harak Chanda. We were invited, all of council was invited, but we were invited by the Bosnian American community to commemorate, and it's coming up on July 11th. And I want to mention it because we no longer do international, global related ordinance proclamations. So instead, just want to take a moment to honor that. It was a moment to remember the 30th anniversary of the Srebrenica genocide that took place during the war in Bosnia. And what I think a lot of people don't realize why it is so controversial is Srebrenica was a place that was protected by the United Nations. People were brought and came and gathered in a place. These were Bosniaks, Bosnian Muslims, that they thought they would be safe, and they were shelled and murdered in a systematic manner, and the UN did nothing. So the UN, they were predominantly Dutch peacekeepers, have since apologized formally for that. But it was one of the gravest atrocities that has happened since World War II. And my husband, who works on issues of genocide and the Holocaust at the US, formerly at the US Holocaust Memorial Museum, it is recognized as a genocide. So I have not cried so many times as I cried that evening. And the reason why my connection to it is I lived in the region for over a year. I used to speak Bosnian, Croatian. I was actually married in that part of the world to a Romanian. So I just have so many dear Bosnian friends. And even when I was at the World Bank, I had chances to go back and work in that part of the world. And one of the messages I shared that evening was what I learned out of all of that time there was difference and diversity does not mean dispute. It does not mean war. The history of multiculturalism in Bosnia is far longer and far greater than a history of war and enmity. There have been those moments, but there has been a far greater history of multiculturalism. It's an incredibly diverse, beautiful country. And it is when leaders of nationalism use, unfortunately, messages that dehumanize difference, and when the West and the international community remain silent, that is when war, that is when difference turns into grave, grave dispute and war. So it was an honor to it was a very solemn occasion, but an honor to be with the community as we have many Bosnian Americans who live in Troy.
Councilmember Chanda.
Yeah, happy 4th of July, and also wanted to echo with Councilmember Chamberlain Krenga. I was there with Mayor Baker, very solemn occasion. It's a reminder of what can go wrong. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that we are doing a ribbon cutting for the pickleball court tomorrow. So I guess Mayor maybe will mention, but come over and celebrate with us. It's, I believe, at 4 o'clock at Firefighters Park. It looks really nice. I went there to take a look at it, and tomorrow we'll be actually getting in. So.
Additional council comments? Yeah, I think Councilwoman Chamberlain spoke beautifully about the ceremony or the commemoration on Saturday, and it was a painful reminder of how deeply affected the residents of our city and surrounding communities are by what happens throughout the world. Many of the people there were lost family members in that genocide, and we're still carrying the pain and the scars to this day. And it was evident by their tears, by their stories, by their music, their beautiful music, by the way. And I was honored to be there and to share in the experience and to frankly learn a little more about something that had not been taught to me much at a younger age, or something that I hadn't focused on heavily in my adult life. So it was a good experience from that perspective. But Councilwoman Chamberlain spoke very clearly and eloquently that evening about her experiences, and it was obvious in the room that the Bosnian Americans there, it really resonated with them, what you said, and it was very appreciated, I could tell. So I just wanted to let you know that and let everybody know it was a good Saturday evening from that perspective. It's hard to pivot to the other stuff, but we talked about fireworks and Independence Day, 4th of July. Please be safe. Seems like the police department could probably verify, but people out drinking and having a good time with fireworks shouldn't be doing those things together, first of all, but you also shouldn't be getting in a car and driving around or driving home. So please, it's really easy to get an Uber or have someone else drive. Don't have a good time at a barbecue or cookout just to ruin the rest of your life and potentially other people. So be very safe out there. Pickleball ribbon cutting is tomorrow at 4 o'clock, Firefighters Park. Councilmember Chanda mentioned it. This is a very exciting project to have completed here in the city. And I'm hoping a lot of pickleballers are there. So I know some have already said they're going to be there, but it should be good. And they're beautiful courts, and I think I heard some members of the city staff talking about earlier about how it fits there really well, and it's come together really nicely, and I'm excited about that. So you know what, I want to add one last thing is that, and I'm cautious to do this. Mr. Niffen left, but he came forward tonight, and I'm just going to be really honest. I appreciate that he comes forward. He's a resident and has every right to come ask us questions and to make statements. But what I don't appreciate, and I'll tell him next time I see him, is that he basically painted a picture of either I'm wasting tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars on something frivolous or I'm stealing copyrighted music. Neither of those things are true. But those are the two options he presented in a public meeting and put us and me in a very difficult position. And we've communicated many times in person, on the phone, and on email. He's never once asked me that question or anything about it. So I find it very strange that he would choose to come forward in a public meeting and make accusations like that when he has very clear means to get the answers he's looking for. So that leads me to believe he's making statements for his own either political gain or for some overall purpose. I don't appreciate it. I hope the younger folks in the back, I don't know why you're here tonight, maybe summer school, I don't know what's going on, but you know, sometimes misinformation comes to the podium. Be aware of, check all your facts and sources before you think you know what's going on, and I'll reach out to Mr. Niffen and have a good conversation with him about this, but to be painted with either I'm spending and wasting tens of thousands of dollars or stealing is just plain wrong. So I didn't say that earlier, but I want to make that clear now. And again, I'll reach out to Dave, and those of you in the room who speak to him on the regular basis, go ahead and let him know I'm looking for him to talk to him about it, because I've heard a lot of things from this table, but that was an interesting one, and I appreciate Joey's comments, but I take the State of the City address for this community very seriously, because it's an important opportunity for people to hear about what's going on in our city, and sometimes we have a little fun and do some things, but we're not wasting taxpayer dollars doing such a thing, and it serves a much broader purpose. And again, I'll talk to Mr. Niffen all about that. But anyway, just wanted to get that out there and clear that record a little bit. I think that's it for council comments. We don't have anybody signed up for public comment for items on or not on the agenda from members outside of the city of Troy. We do have a closed session, so with that, we'll go ahead and recess from here and pick back up in the boardroom.